Thrall is pretty beefy. There's a lot of changes here. And was it Math of the Storm, a relative newcomer to the community, did put together a nice little rundown of the Thrall PTR changes. Basically going into the standard build here at the top, and then talking about how things changed in general. And it looks like, in terms, yeah, here it is. Cooldowns went up by 33%, but there's lots of talent interactions now. Passive procs per cast went up 33%, canceling out. Mana consumption went down by about 15% on Thrall here. And filing, healing per proc of the passive went down by 33%, which I think is the most surprising thing to me, actually. That they actually lowered his healing. But the Thrall we fought yesterday on Malthael was a beast, wasn't he, in that last Infernal Shrines game? By the way, oh no, those will be posted later today. So Malthael videos will be up later today over on the YouTube. But he was really resilient, and I could have sworn that something was going on with Frostwolf resilience. But right here we see the change. Healing amount decreased from 314 to 210. Feral Spirit no longer stops upon the first enemy hero hit. Feral Spirit travels 25% further with each enemy hero hit, which is frightening, awesome for Thrall players, of which I am not one. I've accused him of being a bit boring in the past. Actually, his kit's incredible. I just don't want to be Thrall. It's a fantasy. That's the whole problem, is I just don't want to be Thrall. But he is looking amazing. He fell out. Better solo laners came in. The Bruiser role got really filled out when Dahaka got his upgrade, along with Sonya and her little rework there in the past. Double support, I guess, didn't really leave any room for Thrall, because we were still running double tank during that. And with Arthas getting an update too, and Anubarak as well, there just wasn't any room in the world for another Bruiser. But it looks like Thrall, in terms of survivability here, it looks like he took a hit. But actually, when you get into the nitty-gritty of it, it looks like he has a lot of tools to deal with a lot of different situations. And in fact, just seems like a more interesting, active character. Which I like. I like that idea. Babel says he was a beast, but how much of that was because he just kept diving our team, getting out damage, then dying? So you think maybe, first of all, we're on the PTR, there's no MMR at the same time. And actually, he wasn't as, perhaps, impressive as we thought he was. I was on a new character. We were all running around a little crazy. We don't even know what the mouth healing him was doing at the moment. I mean, more Moonfire damage, but I don't know what the healing output was in sort of that situation. So it's tough to read into. With this sort of baseline stuff, Chain Lightning, cooldown increase from 6 to 8 seconds, number of bounces increased from 2 to 3, range of bounces decreased from 7 to 5, mana cost increased from 40 to 45. That's really interesting. So they wanted to get rid of the auto-pick talents, which were just atrocious, weren't they? I mean, he's absolutely right, Math of the Storm here. This was the build that you would do, and maybe you would vary your follow-through Giant Killer and Tempest Fury, maybe? If you somehow found yourself in quick match and you needed more range for some reason or another. But in all honesty, you're taking Thrall as a bruiser to control the enemy team with the help of Earthquake. There's actually a really nice level 20 upgrade too to Sundering, which I'm curious to play around with as well. So the whole goal of this was to destroy the base build, get rid of those moldy talents like in Venom. I know when we spoke to him at the summit, it was a very large goal of theirs that Thrall receive his rework. So, we already know this now bounces 3 times. The range of the bounces has been decreased. Feral Spirit. Let's go ahead and try this guy out a little bit. We'll go ahead and get some Lost Vikings ready to go in the background here, so we can try out hitting multiple heroes and seeing that range. But it now pierces automatically and goes an extra 25. So let's see if it kind of dies out. Alright, we got some feet there on the ground. So not a ton. 25%, not a ridiculous amount on that range, but it will go on to grab other heroes, perhaps in surprising ways. And the root duration, as I've seen from a quest, can be increased up to 1.5, which is a pretty scary little number. Okay, yeah, so both got rooted. Looks like they're all in a straight line here. Oh, wow, look how much distance that gave. So 25 per hero? Each hero hit increases the distance by 25. Yeah. So I can just barely be in range of Olaf here. And it still goes on into the back. That's pretty slick. Cool, let's dive in. Echo of the Elements. Kill minions or heroes within 1.5 seconds of hitting them with Chain Lightning. After killing 10 enemies, reduce the mana cost of Chain Lightning from 45 to 25. After killing 20 enemies, gain a second charge of charged or Chain Lightning. Cool, so this takes in one of my favorite, what was it, a level 16 talent in the past? Again, I wanted to play a very different Thrall than the meta, so I didn't play much Thrall. But if he gets the extra charge, I really like that build. I love the amount of poke that Thrall has. Very rarely do things get away from him if he's played well. And returning Thralls look like they're going to be really powerful and have some surprise factors in here, which is what I'm mainly concerned. We're going to fight a lot of Thralls in the coming weeks. So let's figure out what makes him tick so we can actually kind of get in his head a little bit. So we would expect 20 kills on enemies. Killing 20 enemies? Kill enemies, heroes, 20. Oh, really? So anything counts? But sure, I gotta get to 20 stacks, but if I can do that off of the lane... Now, this does bounce 3 times on a 7-second cooldown, so I might just be limited in... And that wasn't a charge. Wasn't inside the time frame, I guess.
A clever strategy.
Okay, 1 charge. I don't get multiple charges for heroes or anything, do I? Oh, I'm too dangerous. 2. I guess that is a little harder than it might seem. Go ahead and wear down Olaf here and see if we can give him the final poke of his life. 3, so no bonus stacks at all for heroes. And I'm actually rolling with cooldowns off right now, so this would be an even greater feat. In many cases. There's the delay turn-in on it. Kind of ran into this problem yesterday with last rites on Malthael. Just focusing in on last hitting. Or hitting people in the middle with an Alarak talent. Can just really decrease your overall opening DPS as you start to play in a very exact style. So we walked away after a short little brawl there in lane with 6 stacks. That seems about fair. So every lane phase you would probably get about 6 or 7. Managing that off of 2 separate lanes, hitting 3 targets. 2 or 3 lanes by the time that 2-minute objective pops. So could be doable. So if that's the mindset, then that would be about by the 3rd objective, most heroes would be on to the decreased mana cost. And by probably as the team fights start to break out and the pokes come in, 4th, 5th objective, we'd be going on a 2nd charge of Chain Lightning, which would probably be around heroic time, which I guess would be still earlier than the level 16 Talon. So neat, because I want more poke, and I'm worried about my mana. That's something that's just going to be hard to tell until we get Thrall into a real game and feel what his mana is like. Crash Lightning. Hitting at least 2 heroes with a single use of Chain Lightning increases the damage of its bounce by 10, up to 400. After hitting multiple heroes 20 times, Chain Lightning prioritizes bouncing to heroes, which I really like. I think that's a fantastic way to augment a character through their sort of AI. Change up, either a summons way they do things, or the way a spell bounces and targets around like this. I would have figured that this would favor heroes in the first place. All I gotta do is hit them for a charge, right? Yeah. Hitting at least 2 heroes. Okay, with a single charge. So if I bounce and go on to hit more heroes...
A killing blow.
Did that stop my lightning? Oh no, it probably bounced onto... Actually, it kind of does look like it. Just kind of stopped on death there. Let's see if we can replicate that. Because this is not guaranteed to hit, no. So I need to sort of catch them when they're out on their own. Like right now would be the perfect time to get a... Oh, I went right on the lane. Okay, bounce back onto the guy, but that's actually a little complicated. So I would want to favor this on things, on objectives where we're going to fight out a lane enough. Trying to complete this in lane is a little randomized.
Double kill.
And then, of course, now that I've got only 1 Viking left, I'm not actually going to be able to get any dings for my quest. Well, so... So you would stack this out of lane so you can be more powerful in lane later, perhaps? Or you look for those perfect opportunities. No, because if you're solo laning, you're not going to take this because you're not fighting multiple people in most cases. So you would become better at fighting in lane against heroes. So this would be your sort of mid lane Kael'thas convection stack kind of talent. I think that'd be the best way to think of it. So they're kind of, actually, they're doing some really interesting things with a lot of these solo lane heroes. Just like Alarak, they're giving them a talent build that allows them to really shine in group activities, but their base kit is always good in the solo lane with regeneration, everything like that. That's cool, and I'm curious to see how they might augment other heroes. Who would be our oldest after Thrall, the most, perhaps, rotten of the talent trees at this point? Would that be... probably Raynor? Yeah, probably Raynor. Though he got a rework at some point, didn't he? Sammy hasn't really been reworked, but he's still relatively new. Oh yeah, for you guys at home, if you ever want to despawn your enemies, the enemy will actually stay behind the wall if they don't have minions with them, as long as they're not on this wall here. If you want to turn off your ally, all you do is select ally and then hit none at the very top, so scroll up to the top there. You should absolutely be using try mode to figure this stuff out. It's a good place to start that thing. Ooh, good question here. What's Kyle's thoughts on locked camera? I've heard the pros use it and others don't. I use locked and unlocked depending on the hero situation, but wanted to get your take on it. Spacebar will always take you right back to your center. If you are playing on Chromie or Sylvanas because you have to fire that arrow so far out in front of you, I would prefer that you're locked camera because ideally you set up a camera field and then run around in it. Now, let's say I'm in the bottom lane, and this is my bottom lane. My camera could be up here, so I'm watching my two entrances. So that's all I'm really concerned about. You can play locked. You can play... Pros play locked. Anyone plays whatever they want. Just as long as you're making effective camera angles and getting enough information in your shot. If this was the top lane, our shot would be more like this, so we could see them trying to approach from the bottom. Simple version of that. Let's go on and try out this last talent, Rolling Thunder. For 10 seconds after hitting an enemy with Chain Lightning, Thrall's next basic attack against them restores 10 mana. Passive. Increase the range of Chain Lightning by 30% and the number of bounces by 1. So no stacking required. Both of these are pretty high attention. Definitely Echoed Elements being the one I think takes the most attention, the most practice to get good at. So just a nice little passive. Let's check the range on that. There we go. Right about there. 30% more. About 30%. Same as our Nazebo, same as our Malthael yesterday. And then basic attacks against them restore 10 mana. So let's blow some mana here. Okay, cool. Just like it used to work. There is one mark on that enemy, signified by this sort of shock here in the middle of their chest. And then one auto attack is it. So I don't get multiple manas back for hitting them 3 times. But I do get 1 mark per target I've hit. So we'll have to see what his mana efficiency is in the end.
Yes.
Well, excellent. Let's move on to 4. 5, 4. No. We want 4 exactly. We got to know the exact numbers. So for now, let's do the passive because we're not good Thrall players. We're still learning him, and I don't want to be preoccupied with extra thoughts in my head unless we see something really worth stacking. Feral Resilience. Heroes damaged by Feral Spirit gain 2 stacks of Feral Resilience, granting 50 physical armor against the next incoming hero basic attack. Stacks are consumed on the next cast of Feral Spirit. Feral Spirit. Okay. So heroes damaged by Feral Spirit, 2 stacks. Let's actually take the talent.
Well chosen.
Cool, there it is. 2 stacks of block, 50%. Hero basic attacks, block enemy hero basic attacks. Cool, not triggered on anything else, as block normally does. And if I fire this, it goes away immediately. So it actually has nothing to do with hitting it again. So this sort of fly time, I am not getting a stack in between. So I would want to make sure my stacks are used before I fire another Feral Spirit. Well, block talents are situational. Not going to put too much thought into that for now.
Choose a talent.
Frostwolf Pack. Quest. Hit 7 heroes with Feral Spirit. Progress is lost on death, and when Thrall fails to hit a hero. Reduce the cooldown and mana cost of Feral Spirit by 50%. I know one of you were taking this in our Hanamura game yesterday, and it absolutely turned you into a bit of a beast. But 7 hit, wow. Alright. So, oh, gotta take it. So 1, and I miss. Back to 0. And then, yeah, and on death. But reduce the cooldown and mana cost by 50% down to 6 seconds and 30 mana. That'd be pretty darn scary. Well, that's actually not too hard to do as a melee hero. If you really just wanted to wait until the second anyone puts out another CC, stack it, do it in melee range so it's as instant as possible, that could easily be done. 7 heroes. So solo lane wise, that would take a long time. Otherwise, though, you could burn through that pretty darn quick, particularly if you're getting to do the pile.
Choose a talent. Choose a
Mana
talent.
Tide. Ooh, Shamani. Frostwolf Resilience restores 20 mana and reduces basic cooldowns by half a second. Are we going to have mana issues? Are we set? Is Thrall completely just reworked into Vala mana-hungry town? I don't know. Half a second, though. Let's go ahead and turn this stuff off.
Guide me.
Alright, so I've got a stack there. So one more stack. So it's just everything? Got everything on cooldown now, but I have nothing else to use. So as I use... So it's just a jump. The mana we're not feeling, of course, because we're just wailing on a dummy here. But we do see the half-second jump down. Frostwolf Resilience, though, does trigger off of your heroics. So what sort of cooldowns are these? Basic ability cooldowns. Okay, so if you do an Earthquake, you will get half along with any other heroes. So that could actually equal some serious wailage. And if you're going to be wailing that hard, you might need the mana to recover with. We'll see as we go then. Could be a situational level, could be a good combo level with future talents.
Choose a talent.
If you finish that quest, then die, do you reset the reward, or does the reward stick after death? It's looking like it sticks after death, but let's go ahead and complete the quest.
Choose a talent.
And just make sure. Complete quest. 7. Oh, that will heal me. Let's not get healed. Let's just die.
Your killing spree.
Good to go. So like Kael'thas, when complete, the Frostwolf pack will remain in place. And if I miss, nothing bad happens anymore. Is that per tick of Frostwolf Resilience or the entire 5? Just the full 5. So completing the stack gives you the level 4 here that we were looking at. Ah, there we go. Mana Tide. So let's go ahead and reset these.
Choose a talent.
And do that for sure. So here, watch the cooldown. And so that was 3 stacks there of the eventual turn-in of the 5. And you could see the Wind Fury didn't change there. But as I hit these final goes, we get that little jump for a little recovery there on the Wind Fury. As well as these other ones, but as I just cast the Chain Lightning, it's not as visual as the Wind Fury there. Good questions. Maelstrom Weapon. Repeatable quest. Basic attacks like... Oh gosh, this was that thing. That thing we saw yesterday. Basic attacks against heroes while Wind Fury movement speed bonus is active increases attack damage by 1. After gaining 20 attack damage, increase the movement speed bonus of Wind Fury to 40. From what? From 30. After gaining 40 attack damage, Thrall permanently gains 15 increased movement speed. That's just nutty. Thrall doesn't need movement speed. He's good enough. He's sticky enough as it is. So these are just basic attacks. Oh, no, while the speed is active. So the speed lasts for a full 4 seconds, but I can burn through my 3 attacks very quickly. I still get all this time. Wow. So in 2 Wind Furies, because I'm already locked on, because I'm not chasing anybody, I've gotten 10 stacks. So I have to get to 20 for a movement speed bonus increase, and then 40. You know, that's doable. That's absolutely doable on Thrall. And now I'm trucking around at 15% increased movement speed at all times. Jeez. That is a huge increase in any melee's damage, getting movement speed. You're going to be more sticky. Plus, Thrall already has all this fantastic poke. So that's going to be really scary. Let's see if anything can even compare to that. Ancestral Wrath. Activate to consume 8 stacks of Ancestral Wrath, damaging a target enemy hero for 15% of their maximum health over 3 seconds, and healing Thrall for 150% of the damage dealt. Gain 1 stack of Ancestral Wrath every time Frostful Resilience activates. Activate to consume. Okay. So a little bit of level 7 blood for blood giant killer business here. So I need to get stacks, apparently. Oh, that's a little slow, isn't it? This may be kind of the Manatide combo, where we're just looking to whale out as many things as fast as possible. Yeah, we'd have to hit multiple targets. Really work through this in any sort of speed. Granted, you know, here I'm on the dummy. My bounce is only bouncing onto 1 guy. There's 3. Wow, that takes a while. But again, you know, this is Frostwolf Resilience. So that is Earthquakes and Sunders, and this will be available regularly. Let's see, can we get it when we complete our quest? No, we'd have to sit here and burn through, actually, our entire mana pool to make it work. But we're getting close. The jump of the Chain Lightning asks Real. Do they give Frostwolf stacks? Yes, each jump. So each of the 3 auto attacks in the Wind Fury, 3 basic attacks that happen faster, equal a stack, and then each of the bounces. So if I was doing this particular quest, I may, or not a quest, but Ancestral Wrath, I may want to take myself on to Rolling Thunder to make sure I get the extra bounce, that extra range to make sure they bounce around as much as possible. And then possibly the Manatide here. So let's go ahead. This actually is just based on stacks of Frostwolf Resistance, which become Ancestral Wrath tokens, but off a lane here with the bouncy bounce. This will probably look a little better and go a bit speedier. Yeah. And these are Lost Vikings, so I'm not going to get a lot of health out of them. Poison damage. That's unexpected.
Your destiny ends here.
Over 3 seconds. Healing Thrall for 150% of the amount. Oh, I didn't think it would be poison damage, actually. Well, let's go ahead and get 1 more stack, then. I'm curious to see if I heal over time. I prefer heals over time in MOBAs because they cause mistakes. Instant heals can also cause mistakes, but they can be expected by informed players. Now I'm out of mana, actually, so let's go grab some stuff. Let's go ahead and change the build, too.
Choose a talent.
To that Manatide, and then Ancestral Wrath. For that extra bounce. There, I just hit the whole darn lane. Sitting on 6 already.
Well done.
Yeah, now I'm sitting. So it is a heal over time. It's small, because it's here on a Viking, but... Alright. You know, when I think about it, not sure which one I'd prefer, but I do like heals over time, because then I can use it while I'm at full health, and then battle it out. And then I can use it as an opener as well on the enemy side. So that'll actually be available relatively... Oh, hang on. We got no lock. Alright, that'll actually be ready for every objective, absolutely. If not twice or more in between objectives. That could be very destructive.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Let's kind of continue that thought process. Follow through. After using an ability, your next basic attack within 6 seconds deals bonus damage. Cool. We know what that feels like. It's good. It's a nice bit of burst damage. And I heard overall, Thrall's burst damage was reduced in this rework. So that could be a way to get it back. I don't know. I like all of these. These are all pretty darn cool. I think this would be my build here for Ancestral Wrath, as I'm trying to almost quick match survivability, pump up that Frostwolf Resilience, and keep myself going as a main tank when I don't have tank or even support. I don't know. I'd probably do something a lot more aggressive and more informed if I was taking this into Hero League. Let's go to 10, but nothing really changed up here. Kind of following that current line of thinking, I would do something along here. Slowing all enemies in the area, dealing damage only to the heroes. So it wouldn't be as crazy if we popped it in lane, not going to get infinite Ancestral Wraths or anything. But let's go ahead and just see what that feels like on poor Lost Vikings here, who is our sacrificial target, pretending to be a 3-man enemy team. Let's see how fast these sort of things, with all our resets and everything, would help us reset. Certainly is a period of time there where nothing's really happening. Well, I'm escaping with a lot of mana after a big brawl like that.
Yes.
We'll have to see what real heroes feel like at the end. Sundering is unchanged, though it has a new, pretty sexy little 20 that I'm excited to take a look at. Let's advance to 13.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
So
Choose
my
a talent.
quick match build is coming
Choose a
together.
talent.
Clearly there is a fantastic Wailing build in there. Let's go ahead and do Earthquake
Choose
for
a
the
talent.
survivability. Grace of Air, Wind Fury attacks grant twice as many stacks of Frostwolf Resilience. Well, that makes sense. I want stacks of Frostwolf Resilience. That's Wind Fury, twice as many stacks. Okay, let's get some work done. Still, we're going to want to be in lane to complete
Choose a talent.
those stacks of Ancestral
Choose a
Wrath.
talent. Choose a talent.
Well
Choose a talent.
Frostwolf's Grace, cooldown 15 seconds. Frostwolf Resilience can be activated to instantly heal for 150% of its normal amount. So it just becomes a button? Yep, it's a D button. Let's see how much that is. Let's go take some damage. Because right now it's sitting at 350, so should be what? 500? 525? There you go.
For the whole.
That's sizable. And can be used outside of combat without any sort of stacking business. So maybe if I'm getting zoned out completely, that might be the survivability pickup. Spirit Shield. Cooldown 45 seconds. Every 45 seconds, gain 50 spell armor against the next enemy ability and subsequent abilities for 1.5 seconds. Frostwolf Resilience reduces this cooldown by 5 seconds. Wow. Actually, all three, my sort of little survivability quick match build here kind of works well with all three of these, doesn't it? Except for maybe Frostwolf Grace, which is just sort of any time you want to do it.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Well,
Choose a
let's see it. So there's my spell shield. I guess, is it only heroics? Enemy ability, okay. So let's piss off the wizard. It should dispel my... Yep, there it goes. Cool. We're on cooldown now. And I put a stack into it.
A clever strategy.
Looks like we may not be able to see the... Okay, it does do a little jump down. And we can toggle it just like the other one. So wailing harder will give you more spell shields. Seems like everything about Thrall is wailing as hard as you can will give you what you want. Certainly a situational level. I don't think there's anything we'll stack outside of that. We'll make choices based on the enemies we face.
Choose a talent.
Yes.
Choose a talent. Choose a
Continuing
talent.
that simple
Choose a talent.
survivability build. Let's do Grace of Air for that one.
Choose a talent.
Tempest Fury. The final strike of Wind Fury hits 3 times for 75% normal damage. And all 3 of these strikes function as a stack. Which is pretty sick.
Let's move.
Which means if I'm probably going to want Grace of Air if I go Tempest Fury. Makes sense? Get more stacks, more stacks, more stacks, more things, more Ancestral Wraths. Thunderstorm, repeatable quest at 16. Casting Chain Lightning on an enemy hero other than the last hero that it was cast on grants an 8% slow, stacking up to 40%. This bonus is reset if Thrall dies or casts Chain Lightning on the same hero twice. What? While at 40% bonus, Chain Lightning's damage is increased by 25. I hope this has a really sweet graphic to it. Let's just do the same, but I'd probably... It's sounding like this would be for my sweet range poke build.
Choose a talent.
Elements guide me.
Oh, it's just a little tiny graphic, but I guess I would have to keep in my head here. So I've got 3 enemies in lane. As long as I don't attack the same one. That's Olaf's lightning. This would be Balog's lightning. Here is Eric's lightning. I've still got another stack to go, so I guess this will be the lane minion's lightning. No, that didn't do anything. So I'd have to go find yet another hero, because if I attack any of these guys... Oh! Oh, it's just not the same one in a row.
Rather entertaining.
And the same hero twice. So I could do Balog now, and then Olaf again, and then back on the Balog. Okay, so as long as there were 2 heroes in range, I could keep that going. How's the damage feel? Let's go ahead and shock Balog. Okay, that was a reset. So, 334. 334, but I did get a... Oh, right, because I'm only building my slow right now to 16%. Oh, does that light actually mean? Yeah, that light actually keeps track for me. Do I have to cast it on them? Casting on a hero. So if it bounces on the lane minion and eventually hits a hero, I don't get anything out of it. That's nice that gives me that graphic there, though. And then eventually, now, on Olaf, I would increase my damage, so it was 334.
Well done.
417 actually shows as a crit. 417, and then the backside is 167. So, oh, so the chain isn't changed. The chain lightning damage is increased by 25.
Understood.
Let's do that again. 167. All right, let's ruin it. 167. So the initial cast is the only one that gets 25% bonus damage. So I would definitely want to be doing something with like 2 charges so I can have more initial hits. And I wouldn't worry so much about the bounces in this particular build. Oh, the slow seems very powerful. Good dueling talent, actually. Transform your lightning into more of a single target ability with enough team fights happening around you. That's a very strange one. Alpha Wolf. For 3 seconds after a hero is hit by Feral Spirit, Thrall's basic attacks against them deal an additional 3% of the target's maximum health as damage. Increase the duration of Feral Spirit's root by 1.5. So for 3 seconds after being hit, we get a giant killer.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
On him, there's my giant killer damage. Coming off to the side there as that 202. For 3 seconds. After the hero is hit. I'm still going to get some serious damage with the Wind Fury in there. Kind of difficult to keep track of how long that lasts, but you're just going to root a tank and then wail on their face for as long as possible. So I guess there's not a lot of elegance to it. Increasing that root by an additional half second sounds pretty good too. So giant killers, because you need a giant killer, because the tanks are the problem. That'll happen. Let's go to 20.
Choose a talent.
Let's do the one I'm most excited to see what's going on here. World Breaker. I know it's no longer infinite. Lower the cooldown of Sundering by 20 seconds. So down to 50 seconds. After Sundering impacts, it leaves behind an impassable rift, blocking unit movement for 3 seconds.
Understood.
Oh, it's a set wall. I thought it would be a channel. Almost like some sort of version of Rework's Tomb. But no, it's a full-blown wall, so if anything, I'd want to use that as a divide, and then they're stuck over there. Wow. Like Earthshaker. That ability kind of takes me back, actually. I mean, that's a level 1 ability for Earthshaker in Dota. But that's really powerful. And on a 50-second cooldown, no less. That could see some play, though I think you'd be a little weaker at 10, depending on your build, what sort of thing you're doing.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Check out
Choose a talent.
Earthquake. I think Earthquake
Choose a
is the
talent.
exact same.
Choose
Shield
a
in an
talent.
area, 15%. Yep. Nexus Blades, the same. Wind Rush is the new one. Activate to immediately teleport to a target location and gain Wind Fury. Full Wind Fury with movement speed and all.
Strategy.
Yep, it's a Wind Fury. 70-second cooldown on that. And then I still have my movement speed on the backside. Well, certainly, what's the Wind Fury build look like?
Choose a talent.
Here would be my situational based on what sort of laning I'm doing
Choose a
choice.
talent.
Wind Fury, another situational survivability choice, but Mana Tide again, the easiest it seems. Maelstrom Weapon
Choose a
certainly.
talent.
Earthquake so I
Choose a
can
talent.
connect. Grace of
Choose a
Air.
talent.
Tempest
Choose a
Fury.
talent.
And Wind Rush. Do I actually need Grace of Air? Is there something better here since I'm not really interacting with my Frostwolf outside of healing? Nah. Nah, anything else would be situational.
I hear you.
363. And this quest is to hit heroes 40 attack damage. Does this go on forever? What happens if I complete quest? 1,000. Yep. Yeah, it gets a little... It can go on forever. And at that point, when you reach 1,000, you can solo a boss. No problem. For all of you who will reach that magnificent stack number.